Boys and girls, today we are going to be looking at one model, a strategy using paper that you can use to help you visualize what is happening when we divide a number by a fraction. Now, I will warn you that this model is a little bit confusing, so I encourage you to pause the video to look back at your model that you're creating along with the video and to rewind if you feel necessary. Now, for this, you're going to need a sheet of paper and you will also need some colored pencils. So pause the video and make sure that you have those materials. All right, here we go. First, I would like to represent a model of what division looks like with whole numbers. This is just a refresher, and it's helpful because it sets the stage for what we're going to do when we divide by fractions. So here you can see that I have 20 flowers, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide our flowers by different amounts. So I'm going to make groups of a certain amount. First of all, I'm going to make groups of 5. So I'm going to see how many groups of 5 can I get out of 20 flowers. So notice how I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I made one group of 5. Here's another group of 5. Another group of 5. And finally, our last group of 5. So notice how I made 1, 2, 3, 4 groups of 5 out of 20. Now, this is using numbers. We can say 20 divided into groups of 5 will make 4 groups. Okay, so that's a helpful way to think about division. And like I said, it's going to help us later when we are dividing fractions, looking for groups of something, groups of an amount. So here we made 20 groups of 5. We made 4 of those groups. All right. Another way we can look at this, instead of finding groups of 5, we could find groups of 4. So notice how here I made 4, and I made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 groups of 4. So with our division, that would look like this. 20 divided into groups of 4 makes 5 groups. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's set up our model that we're going to use to help us visualize division with fractions. So for this, again, you're going to need a sheet of paper. I'm representing my paper here with a giant pink rectangle. So go ahead and get that out in front of you. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to fold our paper in half. I'm going to show you what the folds look like using lines in just a moment. So go ahead and fold your paper in half. Next, go ahead and you're going to fold your paper again in half. And finally, you'll fold it once more in half. So when you unfold it, you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sections like I have here. Pause the video to go ahead and fold your paper so that it has 8 equal sections. All right, so at this point, your paper should be unfolded and it should have 8 equal sections. All right, so the first thing that I would like you to do is take your pencil and go ahead and we're going to draw a curved line, and we're going to start from, we're going to draw a curved line We're going to start a curved line from the edge of our paper to the middle of our paper. Let me make that a little bit darker. So we're just going to kind of connect our beginning of our paper to our middle of our paper. This portion of our square, of our paper, is going to be considered 1. That's going to be like if we're counting to 1. All right? Now, go ahead and at the top of your paper, just draw another line and then box it in like this. This is going to be counted as 2. Okay? So notice now we have our rectangle, and it's divided into 1 hole, 2 holes. Okay? Let me get rid of this. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and at the bottom, I'm going to set up our first division with fractions problem. The problem goes like this. We're going to divide our 2 that we just created, our 2 boxes out of our rectangle, and we're going to divide them into groups of 3/4. Okay, so if you would like to take a moment and write this on a whiteboard, or if you'd like to write it in your math notebook while you're working through this problem, you can pause the video and do that now. All right, so just like in our flowers problem before, we're going to make groups of 3/4. So go ahead, and now I would like you to grab a different colored pencil. It could be red, it could be blue, whatever, but stick with one color. For my colored pencil, I'm going to use purple. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for fourths. So it's helpful to go back into your hole. Remember, we made our box here. That was our 1. This is our 1 hole, and we're going to look for fourths. Okay, well, notice how we have 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces, right? Well, that means that those are fourths. Those tell us that each one of those is a fourth. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to shade in 3 of those fourths. So I'm going to go and grab my purple colored pencil, and I'm just going to shade it in. There's 1, there's 2, and there's 3. Go ahead and copy what I'm doing on your own paper. That is going to be my first group of 3/4. And I'll draw a little arch here to show that that's one of my groups. All right, now we're going to pick another colored pencil. I'm going to use red, but you can use whatever color you'd like. And we're going to shade in another group of 3/4. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. So here's my one group, my next group. All right, so notice now I've made another group of 3/4. And again, I'm going to group those together and say there's another one of my group of 3/4. All right, last but not least, I'm going to shade in and see if I have any more groups of 3/4. I'll use yellow. You can use whatever color you'd like. Uh-oh. Notice here, we don't have enough to make our new hole. We only have 2 of those things. All right? Now, let's go back and let's take a look at our pieces. Notice how when we divided by our fraction, we kind of created a new hole. Look at how, in my red section, I now have 3 pieces making up our group. In our purple, we also have 3 pieces that are making up our group. But here, we only have 2 out of our 3 pieces making up a whole. Okay? So in terms of whole numbers now, groups of 3/4, we made 1 group of 3/4, 2 groups of 3/4, and we made 2 out of 3. That means we made 2 and 2/3.